Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Annie News, and today we are checking out Mushoku Tensei's Dark History of Demon Wars. Very intrigued, very intrigued. It does seem like the world within Mushoku Tensei has got a lot of stuff going on within it, which I think is great. The world building is excellent. There's always new places that they're exploring within the anime and that. So let's get a little bit let's find out what's going on in this, shall we?
Some of you may not know this, but there's actually a 100,000-year-long history behind the six-faced world of Mushoku Tensei.
Okay.
An epic tale filled with all sorts of conflict and war that show exactly how the world came to be in the anime. Of course, this is just a spoiler-free overview, but it will cover all the darker moments like Laplace's methodical conquest, all the way back to the Dragon God's relentless warpath.
Whoa.
So, let's take a closer look at one of the more fascinating pieces of Mushoku Tensei lore.
Sweet.
Starting at the earliest known record of history, we find ourselves 100,000 years in the past.
Cool.
A period of time known as the Ancient Age of Gods, in which the world was split and ruled by these individual gods and their 7 smaller worlds. There was the human god and its world of humans, the demon god and its world of demons, the sea god and its oceans, the sky god and its sky, and so on and so forth with the remaining dragon god.
So is that the human god that's talking to
But unlike how the world is right
Rudius then at the moment?
These independent domains and their respective gods were separated by almost impassable barriers, making it very unlikely that a person from one world was even aware that there existed any sort of other worlds.
Oh.
It was only the gods themselves who were capable of crossing from one world to the other.
Interesting.
An era of separation that would remain for the next 80,000 years or so.
Wow.
What brought this age to an end was the birth of a dragon god whose power was strong enough to destroy these barriers.
Oh, gosh.
By using his absolute strength together with the might of his 5 dragon commanders, this dragon god had set out on a conquest to destroy all the other worlds.
Oh god, why?
One by one,
Why?
each began to fall until only one was left.
Oh.
A single world under which all the survivors from the previous 5 were forced to take refuge in. There they could only wait for this last world to be met by a similar fate as
Wow.
But before that could happen, the 5 dragon commanders had decided to turn against the repressive leader. With the combined power of a dragon emperor and 4 dragon kings, these 5 warriors fought together in a 5 versus 1 battle to the death. A clash so intense that not even the world itself could handle it. So, when the dust had settled and everything was over, this battle that had concluded in a draw had also brought about the destruction of the dragon world.
Oh gosh.
Only the human world and all its survivors were left now. And that's the world that we currently see.
Now, wow, okay, cool.
Fast forward a couple thousand more years and we now find ourselves in an era known as the chaotic period.
Okay.
You see, with all these outsider refugees being thrown together with the humans, it was only a matter of time before some conflict would begin.
Of course, yeah.
It wasn't anything as big as a war, but these years and years
so this explains why there's so many different races and stuff. Cool.
The beast folk claimed the woods, the water folk inhabited the oceans, the sky folk found the highest places they could, and whatever remaining dragon folk took to themselves in whatever secluded areas they could find.
Right.
There was also the people known as the void folk, but as a type of existence that could live pretty much everywhere, many spread themselves out all across the world. So, with all the other races having found a place to call their home,
this is class. I love how there's an explanation for it all.
A massive open landmass made up of the yet to be divided Central Continent and Demon Continent. Since the 2 continents hadn't yet split into what we see here, the demons and humans were forced to fight for control over whatever territory they deemed to be theirs, resulting in the development of the first great human-demon war 7,000 years ago.
Cool.
What went to accelerate this conflict even further
oh,
was
we got some sort of online alicization stuff going on, cool.
As well as the sudden boom in population. It was a world war-like scenario in which a lot of the other races had to end up picking sides in. So, as this constant struggle continued on for the greater part of a millennia, it was the hero Eris who would go
I really enjoyed the second half of alicization, it was so good.
With him spearheading a squadron of 6 against numerous battles with the demons, he was eventually able to confront and defeat the 5 demon kings as well as the great demon empress Kashidaka, thus finally bringing this 1,000-year-long conflict to its end. Now, just because this war was over, didn't mean that peace was the natural outcome. No. Not only were many demons enslaved by the humans, but the humans also decided to start warring against the other races as well. Their recent victory had made them drunk with power. So, with the next 500 years spent warring against both themselves and the other races, the great Empress Kashidaka was able to resurrect and lead her people into the second great human-demon war. This time, however, making allies with both the beast folk and the sea folk first. She was determined to get her revenge for the last war.
She's gonna beat the humans, right?
Despite having that significant advantage in numbers, though, The most Kashitaka's armies could do was back the humans into a corner for several hundred years.
That's a long time.
The situation
That's
did
a
seem
long
pretty grim
time.
plenty of times, but never once did the humans ever admit to being defeated.
Hmm.
It was a back-and-forth conflict that would continue for the greater part of 800 years. What finally shifted the tides, though, was the single triumphant efforts of the legendary hero Aldebaran. You see, with the ability to take on 10,000 men all by himself, this Golden Knight was more than capable of defeating any demons that he came across. So, when it came time for him to finally fight Kashitaka, although a winner was never determined, the battle did bring about the end of the war.
Right.
As for the way that he did that, well, his final attack was one that was so powerful that the sheer force of it was enough to split the great continent in two, resulting in the creation of the central continent and demon continent.
Whoa!
Now, some people believe this warrior to be the human god himself,
He literally
but
split the continent in two.
Power is something that will always be a mystery. Even if there are people like Rudius who doubt that a single person is capable of that type of power, the fact remains that the land was still split by
still split. They
so,
are
just
separated.
Like how it was with the Holy Sword Highway, perhaps there were individuals whose power was capable of shaping entire continents.
Damn.
In any case, with the humans and demons finally separated, an era of peace would continue for the next 3,000 years or so. Any demons left behind after the war were corralled by the humans and funneled to the demon continent. Because the demon continent was such a barren land, though, to deport these demons was essentially the same thing as condemning them to a life of hardships or even sometimes death.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of the more prominent forms of social injustice at the time. The reason none of the other races stepped in to stop it, though, was simply because they didn't want to spark another war. They would much rather persecute the demons than be put through yet another conflict. So, with all the other races having turned their back on the demons, no matter how much resistance they would give to their new way of life, a world war would never come from it. The rest was simply a matter tended to by time. As the relatively peaceful centuries passed, eventually the demons did become desensitized to their harsh living conditions.
I just got used to it.
Because there was a very limited number of resources, numerous civil wars broke out between countless different demon tribes. The demon continent had to become this volatile place in which only the strong could survive. A large number of demons were wiped out because of it, but what remained after were a select few tribes of fierce warriors forged by fire.
Well, yeah, that's gonna create some strong, people if you have to fight to survive for that long.
The birth of the demon god Laplace. There may have been many demon kings and emperors before him, but to this day Laplace remains to be the single and only demon god.
Laplace.
So, as the only person in 100,000 years to bear such a prestigious title, it didn't take long for him to rally the demons and conquer the demon continent. A campaign that's still vividly remembered today. Despite having achieved all that, though, Laplace wasn't done with just the demon continent. In the brief span of 500 years, he was now ready to start expanding beyond the Ringus Sea. Of course, that wasn't before first making allies with the Sea Folk and the Beast Folk, but once that was done, he was able to start his invasion of the central
So Sea Folk and Beast Folk seem to be the ones that would go for, didn't he say that the Demon Emperor did that again for the war, second
was a
war?
war far more brutal than any the humans had ever fought before. It didn't take long for them to be backed into a corner like how it was in the previous war, especially since Laplace had planned his invasion quite ingeniously. By starting his invasion from the south, Laplace was able to funnel a large majority of the humans' military to a single location.
God, yeah, they ain't going nowhere.
He then retreat back north by sending his worms to make passage through the mountains impossible. As soon as the humans were confirmed to be stuck, Laplace then sent another unit to attack from the north, not only placing the humans right in the middle of a pincer maneuver, but also scattering them in a disorganized retreat to the west.
Damn,
so,
tactical.
With Laplace now in control of both the south and north, it was only a matter of time until his armies would meet the remaining humans to the west. A grave encounter that would have meant their doom had it not been for one last gamble. With the help of the 7 great heroes, the humans were able to negotiate with the Sea Folk and convince them to lift their blockades over the naval passages. That way the heroes could now travel west to the Millis continent. What awaited them there, though, wasn't a large number of reinforcements like how you'd expect. No. The ones who were in charge of the holy city of Millis were currently the beast folk who were still allied with the demons. So, despite Millis having this robust army of holy knights, they didn't mean much if they couldn't be sent into battle. Thus the reason why the heroes were sent here in the first place. You see, the main purpose of sending these heroes overseas was to persuade the leaders of the beast folk to switch to their side. Of course, history recorded this as some sort of diplomatic effort, but everyone knew that the heroes really just went to the head of each clan and took their children hostage. that was the only way that the heroes could get the beast folk to cooperate.
Jesus.
So, with the beast folk now on the human side, when it came time for the decisive battle back home, not only was it the last kingdom of humans fighting against Laplace, but also the 7 heroes, the Holy Knights of Millis, and all the beast folk that they threatened into cooperating.
Boom. Let's go.
This was the force that would be used to assault Laplace's main stronghold. When all was said and done, this violent battle between monolithic superpowers had fortunately ended with victory for the humans. Laplace had been sealed away and his companions defeated, but not before taking out 4 of the 7 heroes first.
4 of them?
Of the 3 that remained, there was the Dragon King Udapin, the North God Kalman, and finally the armored Dragon King Perugius. 3 venerable heroes who would go down in history as the 3 legendary demon gods.
Oh!
It's not like they actually slayed anything, but the fact remained that their actions did lead to Laplace's defeat. So, with this demonic existence now sealed away from reality, the humans could finally rest and focus on recovery, this time prioritizing peace instead of what they did last time. As a result, not only were treaties signed between the humans and demons, but racial discrimination against the demons was completely prohibited now. It was kind of like the United Declaration of Human Rights from our world. Of course, that didn't prevent every bit of discrimination against the demons, but it did ensure that things remained relatively peaceful, which is why the past 400 years have been mostly uneventful. In any case, that's the darker history
but something's going on now.
What once started out as 7 individual worlds has now been reduced to this single human world. A place that's no longer
That's a lot of history. That's absolutely amazing. That's blown my mind.
From the worlds destroyed all those millennia ago. That's why the world is filled with so many different
makes sense. That's classic.
But yeah, that's pretty much all that I got for today. If you're wondering where the next cut content is, well, that's a video that's going to come out next week. Because I did miss the last 2 weeks though, I don't think I'm going to backtrack from where we left off, but instead stay up to date and go straight to this week's episode. I just don't want you guys to miss out on anything from this week's upcoming turning point. Until then though, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So, until next time. Ciao.
Sick. It's cool. I love learning new stuff about shows that I'm watching. It's boss. I love that there's so much history and stuff like this. A lot of thought has gone into it. Absolutely awesome. And I'm absolutely loving Mushoku Tensei. It's absolutely incredible. So glad I caught up to it. I'm just watching it weekly now. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to check out the cut content videos, if I'm honest. I might do. I've got a lot going on. But yeah, stuff like that, or like, explanations of how abilities work and things like that, I will probably jump on. It depends on what is actually being explained within the title of the cut content. But anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of your video, I upload the link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all that helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys. It's all you guys next time.